What's up guys, C-Twan13 here, and in today's video we're going to be unboxing and reviewing the YHE blood pressure monitoring smartwatch. Alright guys, so what we got here is the YHE blood pressure smartwatch. Now specifically this model is called the YHE Doctor Pro. And it uses patented technology within the wristband to detect blood pressure, and obviously does all the other things, including heart rate, blood oxygen, sleep tracking, that sort of thing, activity tracking. Now, I was actually contacted by YHE, and they offered to send me this unit. I told them, listen, I'm going to be honest, I'm going to tell it like it is, I'm going to tell the good and the bad, and they still sent it to me. So kudos to them for actually sending it to me. So as always, I'll leave the link in the description if you want to check it out. Current price I think is around $300, and then there's like a $50 coupon, but obviously prices will change, so check the link below for the most up-to-date pricing. So other than just opening to check to make sure this was the package I thought it was, I haven't opened it or taken a look at it or anything. So this is the first unboxing experience with you guys. All right, with that being said, let's take a look. All right, we've got a thank you card here. Let's see what it says. Just want to make sure there's no information on here. So it says, Dear C-Twan13, we're so thrilled to have you as our brand influencer. Thank you for collaborating with us and giving us the opportunity to offer you one of our company's exceptional products. We truly believe that your involvement in our marketing will have great impacts on our success. We look forward to a long and fruitful relationship between us. Wish you all the best. Sincerely, YHE team. And they even have a little bonus right here, which is they included a piece from the smartwatch. And it says, guess which part it is for your smartwatch. Just looking at this right now, I can't really be sure. I see a flex cable in there. So my guess is it has something to do with the wristband, because if it's inside the watch, probably don't need a flex cable. Well, I guess it could be. It could be for the display, right? The display, you know, it has to hinge down, so there could be a flex cable there. I'm honestly not sure, guys. So if you have an idea what you think this is, leave that in the comments below. All right, let's take a look at the watch. That's all that's in the box. All right, so very nicely packed. Now, I will say, because they sent this directly to me, I don't know if this is how it'll be packaged if you guys buy one off of Amazon, but I imagine the packaging is going to be pretty similar. And you know, it's Amazon, so if there is an issue, you can always contact them and just say, you know, product was fine, but packaging had a little bit of a problem. All right. Now I'm very interested to see how this thing performs because, you know, of course I have the Huawei Watch Ultimate here, but it does not have blood pressure monitoring. I don't think I've seen, there are very few, if any, smartwatches on the market that offer that. So that's a big selling point here. So let's take a look. Outside of the box, really nothing there except maybe their logo. And then it just says smartwatch, model Y001S. Color bright silver, supports iOS, Android, gives your serial number, lot number, production date. The production date on this is July 31st, so this is pretty new production. So we'll take a look. Let's open her up. All right. Very clean box though, I will say. Okay, lift up, there we go. And there's a look at the watch. So, you know, it's kind of an unconventional shape, but, you know, if you're getting something for blood pressure monitoring and that sort of thing, you want something really medically focused, you're already going to want something a little bit more, how do I say, easy to read, focused on that instead of just pure aesthetics. So let's take a look. We'll pull the watch out first, and I'm going to put that to the side. Let's see, we've got, okay, that, I think it just, I thought this was gonna lift up like a lid, but it looks like you gotta pull this whole thing out. Over here, looks like it's gonna be your cables, and then over here, I'm not sure what that's gonna be. Let's take a look. Oh, okay, yeah, that's your charging stand. And, yep, here's your cable. What's this? What in the world is this? Ah, so this is probably, yeah, this is a sizing guide. So depending on how large or small your wrist is, you're going to need to set it to a different precise adjustment to make sure that your blood pressure monitoring is accurate. Because of course, if your wristband is too loose, you're not going to get an accurate reading. So this is a micro USB. Interesting, they still went with micro, but I imagine, you know, for your stand, it doesn't really matter all that much. Although I still would have liked to have seen USB-C, but micro works just fine considering that the watch itself will charge on there. Now, I haven't looked into it yet if YHE sells additional charging stands, but that's going to be an important thing to have access to, because not only might you lose the original, but if you want to have one at work, at home, you know, in your car, whatever, you might want to have an additional charging stand. All right, so let's see, nothing in the middle, obviously, because that's where the watch was sitting. And then here's your quick start guide. And then here is the full manual. So there is a very detailed manual here. It tells you how to measure blood pressure, how to access your controls and settings. So we're going to get into more of that later. All right, so before we get into the whole setup and everything, let's just quickly look over the exterior build of the watch, and then I'll go ahead and read through the manual and then, you know, get back to you guys to do the whole setup process. So let's get it off of here real quick. Now I'm curious to see how big the wristband is. So that is really not that much extra material. So you can see this is going to be the inflatable cuff part of the watch. It's not big. You know, I was expecting some massive, you know, clunky thing, but if this works, guys, this is definitely a game changer, because I think everybody, when they think blood pressure monitoring smartwatch, they think some giant puffy cuff that goes around your wrist. This is not that big. Now, granted, I don't know if this is super tacked in there or built in, or if it's replaceable. I don't know if you guys can see that. I see 2 screws here. So, I mean, I'm not going to probably take this whole thing apart, but YHE, you know, if you can let me know or leave in the comments, is this replaceable? If it is, that makes this even better, because obviously, no matter how well made this is, it's still thin silicone and it could still break or be punctured. So making this easily replaceable would be great. Now, the body of the smartwatch, I can't tell exactly what that's made of. I want to say something like stainless steel, but you know, it's dense. The bracelet itself, or sorry, the wristband itself is some sort of hard silicone material. It seems like pretty standard stuff. On the back side, your sensor, I don't know what is covering the sensor, but it definitely doesn't feel like, you know, ceramic or something crazy. But guys, you have to remember, you know, what they're asking for this watch is a very reasonable price, at least as far as I'm concerned. I mean, just think about it. Your Huawei Watch Ultimate is going to run like $800. Even something like the Apple Watch, or even the basic GT3 Pro, the previous generation of the Huawei Watch, anything like that, you're still going to be paying about $350, $400 depending on where you get it. And none of those watches can check your blood pressure. Let's take a look at the screen. So that does feel like glass. I don't know if it's, you know, Gorilla Glass or anything crazy like that, but let's just see if it'll boot up. I think the battery might be dead. So yeah, if the battery's dead, I'm gonna go ahead and charge it up a bit. I'll read through the manual and I'll jump back in and show you guys the whole setup process. We're gonna do that together so I can really show you how it's done. All right guys, so I've got it hooked up into the cradle right here, the charging cradle. It does actually fit in kind of snug, so it's not magnetic or anything. It doesn't just sit on top of it. You pop it in, so it definitely won't fall out. I also had the watch upside down when I was trying to start it up earlier, so it actually does have 78% already. So I'll pop it out and show you what it looks like. So this is the power button right here. So let's go ahead and download the app right now. I'm gonna just follow the manual right here. So grab the phone, take a look. We'll open it up, download the app. And so there's two versions. There's the Chinese version and also the international version. So obviously that's the one we want. It'll take you to a Google Play link, so it's not off of some random website. You are at least going through the Google Play Store, so you can rest easy there. I imagine, obviously, if you're doing this on an iOS device, it's going to go through the App Store. So we're going to hit install. All right, the app's downloaded. You have to agree to the policy. Now, obviously, I'd recommend, no matter what the service or app or device it is you're using, actually read the agreements and understand that a lot of them come with privacy concerns. That goes for any app. This isn't just a criticism of the YHE watch or anything like that. So obviously for the video, I'm just going to hit agree, but I recommend obviously you read through everything. Most of the time, you know, there's concessions you're willing to make to use a product, but always read things. Don't just hit agree without reading. So we'll hit agree. And so I'm going to go ahead and create an account, because I know for some of you this might not be something you want to deal with, and if it isn't, I understand, but you need to make an account, you need to register, and you have to enter in your basic information. Obviously, otherwise the blood pressure monitoring won't be able to be accurate without your personal, at least some personal health info. So that is understandable, but I still do wish there was an option to not make an account. So YHE, you know, if you're watching this, I would say give people the option to not have to make an account, to just use it locally on the device. You know, it can be a situation where, okay, well, if you don't make an account, you know, your data is stuck on the device and you can't transfer. That's fine. But I still think there's definitely a lot of people out there that would be more happy being able to use something like this without having to sign up for anything. So let me go ahead and sign up for the account, and I'll be right back. All right, guys, so I've got the account set up. I've set up a password, so let me just enter in my information. It's gonna ask you if you're male or female. Let me put in my birthday. All right, so now you have to put in your weight and height. So obviously I'm in the US, so I'm gonna change this over. All right, I entered that in. And so now here we are at the main homepage of the app. Now, I will say this looks a lot like the Huawei Health app. I'm actually using my phone to film right now, so obviously I couldn't show you that. I have it installed on my phone, my main phone, but it's very similar setup. So, you know, this is going to be familiar for anybody using some of those apps. And so here's your main home screen. You can obviously change which cards you want on this screen by hitting down here, hitting the edit card button. But we're going to go ahead and add this watch. So we'll hit add devices. It says, I know. Confirm device model, select correct model according to image. Incorrect selection prevents device search. So we'll just say, yeah, we want the YHE Doctor Pro. All right. And make sure your device is on. It says, I know. I think the option should be okay or confirm, but I know works, I guess. Let's see. In order to support Bluetooth device search and weather information, this application will collect location data. That's kind of an unfortunate necessity here. So let's go ahead and see if it will find the watch. And it has right there. And we'll say confirm. All right. So we're paired up. All right, it's asking us to send notifications. I'll just do that. All right, so it says remove all clothing, find the corresponding buckle on the strap based on the measurement of your wrist, and maintain the correct posture during measurement. So in order for the measurement to work, you have to hold your arm up to the midline, right where your heart would be on your chest, as you can see there. And press the measurement button, and then it will go. So we're not doing that right now, but I want to see what all is on this watch. So I'm looking here, here's your summary, here's your watch dial display. So I'm gonna be honest, this is pretty responsive. I mean, again, you have to consider this watch is like 300 bucks, right? You could probably get it for even less right now. It's a very responsive watch. Look at the UI, look at how it swipes around. All right, guys, so what we're gonna do now is I'm gonna give you guys a basic tour of the interface. So to wake the watch, you can either press the power button or this back button right here. You swipe down, you get your quick panel access with all your quick toggles, settings, vibration, Bluetooth, alarm, do not disturb, power save, and of course brightness controls on top. Now if you go into the settings menu, in your display menu on the top, again you can change your brightness, you can change the screen timeout functionality, you can set your screen to always be on, and you can disable or enable raise to wake, and you can change the dial theme. This also can be done from the main dial just by tapping and holding, but this allows you to swipe back and forth to the different watch dials. Now kudos to YHE for actually calling them dials, because on a watch it's a dial, not a face. Clocks have a face, watches have a dial. So if you go back to our settings menu, in the alert section you have two options. There's apnea alert and move it. Move it is an activity reminder, so basically a reminder to say, hey, get up and move. The apnea alert is the function that will let you know if you stop breathing in your sleep. And as somebody with sleep apnea, that's actually a very nice feature to have. If we go back in the about section, you're just going to see the different information about your specific watch. In languages, obviously you can change to whatever language you want. Units, you can change distance and temperature, miles, Fahrenheit, that sort of thing. And the nice thing is you can change in whatever combination you want. So if you use Celsius, but are also used to miles, you can use miles. Whereas if you use Fahrenheit, but you want to use kilometers for whatever reason, you're welcome to do that as well. And at the end, you have an option to reset the watch. If you push this button there, that gives you your menu. That gives you all your different functions. So blood pressure, blood oxygen, heart rate, your workout modes, alarm, your calorie menu, sleep, weather, of course your settings again, and HRV or heart rhythm monitoring. So this will monitor your heart rhythm while you're sleeping. Weather is obviously weather. Sleep is your sleep menu. I don't have any sleep data yet. Calorie menu is just your activity rings, and it gives you a basic summary. Alarm allows you to add different alarms. Your workout menu allows you to choose from a variety of different exercises. Heart rate is obviously going to monitor your heart rate. SpO2 is your blood oxygen, obviously, so it's going to tell you what your blood oxygen is. And currently it's 98. And of course, blood pressure will monitor your blood pressure. So now let's go ahead and test some of these medical functions. All right, guys, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to size this up for my wrist, because remember, you need to have it at the correct notch in order to get an accurate measurement. So, all right, so you make a loop. I don't know if this is how they want us to do it. So I'm gonna put this on my right wrist. All right, so it says match the number. So I'm gonna go ahead and see. That's giving me 5. Give me a 5. So match to the number on interior of the band. So let's go ahead and take a look now on the inside of the band. Do we have numbers? We do. And 5 is right up here. So let's go ahead and get this thing lined up. I'm gonna do this off screen. It's kind of hard to do on screen. All right, guys, so we got it sized up at a 5, and it's not ridiculously tight. That was the other thing I was worried about, is maybe it'll be super tight and uncomfortable. That's kind of how most people would wear a smartwatch, especially if you want accurate blood pressure monitoring and all that. So we'll go ahead and, oh, guys, I think it's going already. I did this by accident. So keep in mind, I'm not accurately following their guide on measuring blood pressure because I should have my arm up by my chest. But still, we'll see how it comes out even just doing it this way. And then after we run this test, we're of course going to compare it to a regular blood pressure monitor. And we're going to then check all the other features as well. You know, the heart rate, oxygen, all that stuff. So what did it give us? It was 116/77 and 79 beats per minute. All right, so now let me grab a conventional cuff-based blood pressure meter and we'll be right back. All right, guys, so I've got a standard Omron unit right here and I'm gonna put it on the same arm, my right arm. I'm gonna line it up at the correct spot. All right, it's lined up correctly in the crook of my arm, and we'll go ahead and check. All right, guys, so we got a result of 125/71. Now, I want to run another test on the watch, only because I forgot to have this sitting next to me while I was doing this video. And so as a result, I had to get up to go find this. And that definitely could affect my blood pressure. So now that I'm sitting here after getting up, I'm gonna run this again. And you know what? For this test, I'm actually gonna run this while doing it the way they said to. So I'm gonna hold this up to my chest and then I'll show you the result after. All right, guys, so after doing that test, as you can see, 122/79, and our pulse is almost identical to this reading. So other than the diastole being a little bit off, again, like I said, I had to get up, sit down, move around. So my heart rate went up, and then when I sat down, it was gonna go back down, and so my blood pressure would go up and come back down. But that's pretty good, especially considering, look how small this thing is. That's great. All right, guys, so now that we've tested out the blood pressure monitoring, let's go ahead and check some of our other functions. So let's check blood oxygen, for example. Let's let it check that real quick. All right, we're reading 98% on the blood oxygen. All right, now do a quick comparison here. We'll check that on the Huawei, see what we get. Yeah, we're getting the same reading. So 98% on there, 98% on here. So let's go ahead and check heart rate. All right, we're getting 77 beats per minute, 79. We'll take a quick look at our Huawei watch. We're getting about 72 on here. So I'd argue that 73. I argue that this is actually more accurate than the Huawei. I think the Huawei is always biased a little bit low. All right, guys, so let's take a look at the calorie menu. So your basic activity rings here. In our sleep menu, so obviously no sleep has been recorded, so I'll have to test that out and see how well it works. HRV, so heart rhythm monitoring. So this will actually monitor your heart rhythm while you're sleeping. So if you turn that on, basically, while you're sleeping, you will see a trend of your heart rate and rhythm. So that's a pretty well-featured health smartwatch. And actually, I was interested to see if there was a setting I could turn on to allow for constant monitoring. If you go into your heart rate menu, you scroll down, hit auto measure, and it will automatically measure. If you go into the blood oxygen menu, I don't see an option for automatic measuring, but maybe that's something I'm missing. YHE, if that's an option you guys can add, I'm sure people would like that. I know I would. All right, guys, so the last thing I want to go over is what other features does it have in terms of notifications and that sort of thing. So if we go to the device and then we go over to guidance, there should be an option for you, push notifications. So you want to make sure that your app has notification access. So we'll go ahead and do that. So I believe it should, let's see. All right, all right, so let's see, notifications are allowed. Permissions. Yeah, so we have notifications set here. Let's take a look for dials. Oh, okay, interesting. So there's some more options from the store that you can download for different dials. And these are the ones that are currently on the watch. There's only 3. Let's see, do they cost anything? No, they are free from what I can see. Yeah, I just see download and install. So that's pretty cool. Obviously, YHE, maybe try and get some more in here. But as far as it goes for now, this is a decent allotment of them. But certainly people are going to want more than 9. So, if they maybe open this up for developers or something like that, that would be something they could explore. But for now, you've got a decent selection. So let's just try one of these out. Let's try out, I think this one's nice, right? See how it works. Okay. It's a little slow, but it's downloading. You can see. All right, guys, so it's done downloading. Now it's just finishing the installation. And there you go. Yet another watch dial installed. And to change them, you just press and hold. You'll feel a vibration, and you can swipe in any direction you want to change to a different watch dial. It's pretty self-explanatory. So let's go back in the app real quick. And if you tap on it, so if you go to the bottom tab right here, it says device, and then you tap on the image of your watch, you'll be able to see basic info, battery and all that other stuff. And here you can see notification management. So this is what they were talking about earlier. You want to make sure you set this to on. This will allow all your notifications to show up on your watch. And then once you're here, you can see within this menu all the different apps that you can let have notification access. So in this case, I don't really use any apps on this particular device, but you could say, well, let's turn on SMS, different apps if you use Messenger or whatever. Now, the interesting thing is it doesn't give you an unlimited list of apps. In fact, I don't even have WhatsApp on this phone, but it's listing it. And QQ, I don't have that either. WeChat, I don't have that either. So at this time, it seems like you're limited to this particular list of apps. It would be nice if they open this up for other apps. Like I don't see YouTube on here. I don't see anything like that. So it would be nice to see those different options. But still, it's nice that you can see basic notifications. So, and over-the-air updates, guidance, run in the background. So let's take a look. So this is probably just in order to make sure that the app doesn't get shut off by any power saving functions on your phone. But that's pretty much it. If we go back to the menu, we can also see in this tab on the right, this is your profile tab. This just has your basic settings, personal information, and health goals. And on your homepage here, you just have, again, like I said, all your health data. So look, your blood oxygen showing up, heart rate should show up, there you go. And obviously this HRV is your heart rhythm monitoring. That's obviously going to show up when you sleep, and obviously sleep data will show up here. So far I'm already very, very impressed. So I think the next step is obviously getting a read on things tonight, get a night of sleep, see how it performs, and then I'll get back to you with my final thoughts. All right, guys, I've had some time to live with this watch, use it, and even get you a night of sleep recorded. Now, it wasn't a great night of sleep, but let's go ahead and check it out. So we'll go here. It only measured about 3 hours and 39 minutes. I did get up in the middle of the night and then try and go back to sleep. I don't know if it registered that, but you can see it gives me a sleep quality score, and then it gives me an analysis of what I have here. So obviously light sleep, deep sleep, and then awake time. Because it didn't register that second shorter section of sleep, that's why it's not showing any awake time. But didn't record any apneic events, unlikely to have, considering that I was using a CPAP. But let's take a look at what it looks like on the app. Make sure the data is refreshed. But as you can see, we're still getting everything monitored here. Blood oxygen, heart rate was monitored very accurately overnight. Here's our sleep. We get a more in-depth breakdown of everything, as well as sort of a pie chart set up. It gives us any information here. We didn't get any HRV readings. I don't know what that was about. It might have been that I didn't sleep long enough for it to register. I couldn't really find any reason why it wouldn't record or would record, but YHE, if you see this, you can leave it below, or if you own one of these, let me know if you know why it wouldn't record or would record. My guess, if I had to guess, is probably just it wasn't a long enough sleep session to record, or maybe there wasn't anything to record. But everything else is normal. Blood pressure monitoring still works just fine. Heart rate's just fine. And the step count is pretty accurate, considering I did have the watch off for a little bit. It's just about 1,000 below, give or take, what I got on my Huawei watch. I was wearing this the whole time. I took this off a little bit after sleeping, so it's pretty accurate. But yeah, overall, I'm very impressed with this thing. Like I said, for the price, if you need a medically focused smartwatch, this is probably the best choice, because it's going to give you metrics that are very accurate, and it's going to give you a metric that pretty much no other smartwatch can give you, which is blood pressure. The fact that this can test blood pressure on the wrist, I was talking with my mother about it. She's already super stoked, and she's thinking about getting one, just because of the simple fact that for her, monitoring blood pressure is important, and having it on your wrist so you don't have to sit down somewhere or have access to a cuff-based system and then I'll worry about the batteries for that thing. The fact that it's just on your wrist is a huge convenience factor for a lot of people. So I think the only thing that I would ask them to improve is, I had this issue before. I think I brought this up earlier in the video. The raise to wake function shouldn't have a cutoff. It should be available at all times. So you can see it says 7 a.m. to, I guess, midnight. And then between midnight and 7 a.m. it doesn't work. To me, that's kind of an oversight, because who's to say you go to sleep by midnight? Maybe you work the night shift, maybe something else. And now between 7 a.m. and between midnight and 7 a.m., you've got to constantly wake the watch up using a button or something like that. To me, that's just not a great execution. Also, the lack of an always-on display. I know that this watch does a lot, so maybe they're worried about battery life, but you can see my Huawei watch, right? Always on display. It's there. If I want to wake up the screen, I can tap it, and if I turn my wrist away, it shuts off again. And then if I rotate my wrist, obviously you have raised to wake. This is something that I would like to see on this watch, just because having an always-on display would give you the ability to see the time, but not have to wake up the full screen if you didn't want to. Even if it was a tap-to-wake thing and, to get to the main thing, you turned off the raise to wake. One of those options would be nice instead of just having a dead screen. But, I understand, battery life is limited on something like this. I also would say, I brought this up earlier saying that maybe people wouldn't care, but I still think there's some people out there that would care. If they could make a round version of this watch, so have a case that was circular or more round, kind of like, your Huawei watches, that looks more traditional, I think you could get a wider audience base or customer base for it, because I think a lot of people have an issue with smartwatches because they look gadgety. Now, like I said, being a health-oriented device, I think this is a way less critical thing than, let's say, your lifestyle smartwatches, like your Galaxy smartwatches, Huawei smartwatches, Apple watches, that sort of thing. I think a lot of people don't like the Apple Watch specifically because it doesn't really look like a watch. At least that's my issue with it. One of my issues with it, right? So if they offer different models, I know they offer a more medically, super medical certified version of this that has a little bit nicer of a case and but it generally is a similar shape. It would be nice if they offered one with maybe a circular case, a circular display, and you guys could charge more for it. You guys call it the the Super Premium Pro or something. I don't know. Come up with a name, right? The Ultra, whatever. But I think people would pay for it, because to have a premium smartwatch. So, because I would say that $300. This is not, even if we don't include the coupon price, right? Let's just say the list price $300. I wouldn't consider this an ultra premium smartwatch. Obviously not. But they could enter that space, and to have an ultra premium smartwatch with maybe more features and more customization and stuff, while still having medically accurate heart rate tracking, oxygen, blood pressure, sleep. I mean, these are things, arrhythmia monitoring, right? These are all incredibly useful medical features, especially if you've got ongoing or chronic health issues. That's something that's invaluable to you. And to have it in a premium smartwatch, you would immediately set yourself apart from everyone else on the market. So I think that's, the only things that I would really say, that, and, adding more watch dials and stuff like that. But like I said, at the price that they're asking for this thing, if you need a medically accurate smartwatch, I would say this is a no-brainer. So, but that's my thoughts on it. If you want to check it out, the link is going to be in the description below, as always. If you liked the video, be sure to give me a like. If you have any questions, comments, your own experiences with the YHE smartwatches, whichever version you have, please let me know in the comments below. I know I, along with everyone else, would be very interested in hearing what you have to say. And as always, if you want to see more, don't forget to get subscribed.